He's like super into all the stuff we're talking about. It's so fun. So fun when your kids are like, tell me more.
I have two of mine are questioning and asking and
Really?
actually using, not internally but topically.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's an alien.
Where are you? I can't see you.
Okay, hold on.
I can't.
Thaddeus, say something to Instagram Live quick while I'm.
Everyone on Instagram, you can hear us on Instagram Live, but
Oh, look at you popped up. That's
Yeah,
so
his head just came out next to your head. It was so funny.
where's the Zoom?
Oh my God.
Is this the Zoom?
No,
It was
just
like all of a sudden Jesus appeared.
oh my God, Nick, that's what I call him.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I just shaved my beard
There he is.
last night.
He's popping in.
Hey, it's really good to see you though.
You as well.
Man, it's been a while.
Yes, it has. Boundary Waters.
Boundary Waters was really good.
Oh, we wish you could have come. You were there in spirit.
Yes.
She's probably not going to do another one because people paid so little for what we had to pay for expenses and stuff. So I'm not sure if she'll end up doing another Boundary Waters or not.
We'll just
well, if we want to take it over, we could.
We can take it over. We can run our own. We can just do something totally different. So that's up for discussion. So we'll have to talk through that. But we got to get together sometime soon.
Yes.
I want to let you go do this thing. I'm going to be on the YouTube Live just answering. And then if you don't want to be on camera, like Waters Above Crypto just blacks out his camera. So you can do whatever you're comfortable.
You know what? Fuck this. For this one.
I was gonna say he's already on. Don't say that now. Shh.
That's where I kind of got to. I'm like, it's all. Who cares?
If they're gonna use your past 3 years of like social media, I don't have that, so they're gonna have to go back even further. So,
all right, Jesus.
Stupid stuff.
Jesus is going away. Okay, Jackson is already on saying, Nick, stoked to see you, dude.
Is he still in Cali?
He is still in California. He's in Ventura.
Okay.
And he said, he's like, Mom, you would love Ventura. He's like, it is like groovy surfer, hippie, like freedom type place. I don't know. Something like that. Jackson, tell us more. Yeah, he's still knocking doors and closing deals and learning just like so much about life. It's really cool to see him. So
awesome.
Okay, let me get my I was gonna grab another little cup of coffee before we started, but that ship has sailed. All right, Nick, is there anything else you want to go over before I hit record?
No, it's good.
Okay, so you're in therapy, first topic. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions. And then carnivore, people are interested in like you're in therapy, pairing that with carnivore. So they really want to hear what you have to say about that. And then I'd love to get into some health freedom stuff, like I said in my Telegram message. And you're such a brave voice for that and for this whole movement, right? So like I just want you to like get the floor, man, like take it. And then I really want you to talk about your PMA and how people can join, what can they expect? And then if they're not local, like what does that mean? So like that kind of stuff. Okay.
Will do.
All right. And then did you bring a glass?
I have a glass.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to hit record. I'm going to introduce you really quick. And then I'm just going to say just a couple things about how I know you and stuff when I introduce you. And then you can kind of say what your new role is or whatever. So you guys are getting all behind the scenes on YouTube and Instagram. So I hope you're enjoying that. This is what we do. This is how we like, kind of chat a little bit beforehand. So
organic growth.
Yes.
See.
That's right. And I'm like a newbie to all this. And you know what? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just raw about it. And I was so intimidated when I had Mike Bledsoe on. I totally fucked up the whole like beginning. I was like, special guest. And then he's really special. And then I'm like, I made him sound maybe a little too special. Hopefully not. So, but he's like, I love newbies. He's like, you guys are more entertaining.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I have to check something really quick. Here's my newbie thing. I'm supposed to switch to my external microphone. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody can still hear me.
It's July 10th and it's 10:10 a.m. Just FYI.
That's when I wanted to start this. Oh my God,
Boom.
that's so
There you go.
crazy. I was actually going to message you and be like, dude, we should do 10:10 because it's July 10th.
Well, so
Whoa.
you put it out there.
Oh, that's so cool. All right. I love synchronicity, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Okay, welcome you guys. I'm Tomorrow. This is the Pool Party Podcast, and today we have Nick Zahaski. I actually called you not infamous, notorious on our email.
Infamous is okay too.
Yeah, and I like famously infamous, but I do appreciate notorious. It reminds me of Val Kilmer in when he's doing the Huckleberry thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some correlation there. So welcome Nick to the podcast. You guys, Nick is the most incredible chef you will ever encounter, and he's been an incredible chef at a lot of our retreats. And we've known Nick for quite a few years. Nick was the first person that put a little chirp into my ear about urine therapy, and we're going to get into that because that's part of like why I want to bring him on today. And I bring you up, Nick, in every single podcast that I do about urine therapy. So we want to get to know you and know like what's the inception of all of this. So just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick and do a little intro.
Oh, well, awesome. Yeah. So I'm the infamous Nick, or it's like on Telegram and was on Instagram, was Rebel Breath. I have I guess, a colorful history of lots of things that I do because I can never decide what I really want to do. I just know that I want to live my life the way I want to live my life, free from anybody else telling me what I should or shouldn't do. So yeah, I've been, I guess, an autodidact in everything and teaching myself the culinary arts, teaching myself now about the mixology and the whole idea and history behind that, teaching myself law and things about health. So
when you say mixology, is that like creating craft cocktails, right?
It is, but also more so into the art of distillation, fermentation, and those things. So yeah, like you guys have had some of my ferments and some of my drinks. I recently started distilling my own alcohol. So
right on.
it's a cool skill. And then recreating and I guess fashioning a new still out of a still that I already had to make it better and more proficient. So
cool.
I think I've sent you guys some pictures of the updates of the things that I've done to it. I'm building a new copper column on that, so now that I can actually create or distill whiskeys, which I couldn't do before.
That's so cool.
So not that I'm going to drink all of these things, but just as we've seen the world change, it's always good to have a skill and something that you could use to barter with. And you got raw materials that you could do all these things. And then you could use like the, what they call the head and the tail of your distillation for all sorts of things, whether you're running your car on the heads or for the gasoline, or you're using the tails for antiseptics. So you drink something in the middle of a distillation called the hearts, which is interesting. Yeah.
Whoa, that's so interesting. Okay, let's get more into that at the end of the podcast. But
sure.
let's do a quick cheers. Wait. Nick, right. I have to do that to Thaddeus too. I'm like, he's like drinking the wine. I'm like, dude, we didn't even like have a cheers yet. Like, what are you doing? All right. Well, we're gonna do a little toast to Nick and the inception of urine therapy, bringing it into my life. And I honor you and I honor everything that you're doing. So I'm so appreciative that you are on the podcast and able to share all this information with all of our friends and all of our viewers. So cheers.
Awesome.
All right.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Woohoo. Whew. Okay, so I had made some water in a darker glass on my brother Sage interview, and somebody thought my urine was like that dark. And I was like, the glass is purple. It looked really weird. So today
Well,
I'm
yeah,
like,
like
clear.
if you're using a stainless steel glass, which
Yeah.
I always use in the morning, and I look at it, I'm like, holy cow! Like, but then if you dump it out into glass,
Yeah.
or totally different.
Right.
So as it goes longer in the morning, the more times you go, then it's like super clear, anyways.
It totally, it literally tastes like water. I tell people that and they're like, really? I'm like, I know how hydrated I am every single part of the day. It's so incredible. And I know what I eat, right? So okay, let's get into that. So first of all, let's ask you, like, where did you hear about urine therapy and when did you first try it?
Well, I can't really recall what I heard or what it was, or whom it was, but I know it was over 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I know that I first tried Orin when I was of the ages of 10 to 12. And I remember standing on the counter in our kitchen in Hobbs, New Mexico, relieving myself into a glass and drinking it. And I'd done this multiple times. And then finally I got busted by it was my mom or my brother. And I remember they're like, that's disgusting. And so I was, why? Like, I had no clue. Like, I just was super curious of like, if something that's coming out of us, why is it supposed to be bad? And I want to see if it's bad. And it just tasted like salt water,
Yeah.
It was warm. I remember it being warm and that being like really like odd. And it didn't smell bad. And so I'd done that on and off in through like grade school, but then I never really got back into it or thought of it again until just a few years ago. And it was more of like, again, it was an intuitive thing that I was led to, kind of like the synchronicities. I was thinking about it and then I heard something and I know, okay, I should be going back to this.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And it's been over 2 years. I can't, with everything that's happened since 2019, literally it's like a time compression.
I know.
And I'm not like literally, I tell people just like yourself, I'm not linear in time. Like I literally don't remember birthdays. I don't remember my days. Like when I'm trying to fill out a resume or something or an application, like I can't tell you. I can't even remember my children's birthdays. Like that's how
they're not watching.
Yeah. No, they know this, and I have to keep it written down. So.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. Well,
So
I share that with you because I don't like when I met Thaddeus, he was like, how old are you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even remember. Like I've lost track because I'm not linear. I don't keep track of that stuff. One thing that I heard recently is that if that happens to you, or you feel like you're in that time continuum thing, that you're so hyper present that it doesn't matter because time is irrelevant, right? So whatever happened in the past is irrelevant, or maybe it is relevant, but we're so living in the moment and in the present. I really liked that, dissection of it.
I like that because it actually makes me feel better about like,
I know.
Some of my thought processes that are happening in the world. Like, am I living from my trauma, or am I actually living from the best I can be, the best representation of who I believe I am?
Right.
That's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of going on the whole Orin idea, that thing has been doing this consistently, it has changed my temperament. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Less agitated, less agitated, more present. Yeah, I think that's as big as, because I was always like this really not angry person, but I couldn't control my emotions because it's like human design, right? I'm the odd person out in human design just because of my um, and I'm not going to go into human design, but people can look that up. But certain gates are open for myself, and I'm not a manifester. I'm not a generator, right?
Right.
You know, I'm a projector, so I see things others people don't see, and that's only like 20% of the population. So I think this has kind of been like a cool thing for downloads for me, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to adjust my my Instagram live. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I just want to put it on your face because I had it on my face and it looked kind of crazy. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right. Yeah. Okay. So Brother Sage was on Friday night and he talked about that. Like there is something magical to it. Like it creates some inner peace. It has this metaphysical property. And he too says it's not physical. It's not holistic. It's in a category like on its own. And this is like the peacefulness. I've noticed that too. I'm way more calm. I'm like, why didn't I do this when my kids were little? Right? Like, and why don't this? I mean, this is why I have the podcast, because this is what I think a lot of people, it could be really helpful for a lot of families and a lot of parents right now too. And this is like part of health freedom. And I love that you brought that up because it's such an overlooked part of urine therapy because, you know, like so many people are like, well, how should I do it? And it's like, you need to have this manual and it's physical and it's going to help you with all this physical stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, it's your water from like within, man. It's going to help you in every single way possible that it can, that you will let it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the interesting part.
Well, you know, there's this idea right now in our society, especially with the youth that are attending higher education places. they they they're they believe in scientism.
Yeah.
No longer accept spirituality.
Right.
And they believe that AI, and this is kind of like a crazy idea that AI could have already been here, and you know, but they believe we're going into an AI realm where it'll be dictating everything that we do. But maybe there's already AI has been here and it's been dictating everything that we have been doing.
Yeah.
But there's this disconnection from the world of nature, and this is my connect back to that. Literally, you know, I get outside, I ground, I sun gaze, I do all these other things sporadically, but this is something that I do every day.
Yeah.
Literally, I heard Brother Sage say one part of this is like, you know, if you feel compelled to drink it one day or not, right? And there's been multiple days where I've been exhausted from what I've been doing lately, and it's just like, okay, not as much.
Yeah.
You need to take as much in. Just take a little bit, reserve the rest, and that's what I've done, and that's been great for me.
Yeah. It is. And he, you know, he says it's intuitive medicine, right? Like it will teach you, it will tell you what you need, when and where. And it's like, and if you're open to listen to it, I found that too. So we're going to be 1 year as of August, 1 year as of Nick Zahaski saying to Thaddeus, yeah, I'm still doing urine therapy. And Heidi going, or tomorrow going,
that's disgusting.
Gross. Nick's gross. Why would he do that? And I said to myself, Nick, I'm never going to do that. I love this realm.
Yeah, totally. Like,
oh my God.
I've had those cognitively dissonant moments of lots of things.
Yeah.
And like eating raw meat, maybe perhaps is one of those things. And like that, you know, or
right.
But I'm a kind of a person of never say never.
Yeah.
You know, because it'll vibe something into your reality that you learn.
Right. And I know that too. And like cognitively, like I know that. And I still said it about urine therapy. I was like, I know better than this. So here I am. And now I have a year later, 1 year later, I have a whole podcast on it. Isn't that?
That's
It's
cool.
so
Such
bizarre.
an amazing thing, right? You know, and I've like, even though I introduced it to you, I've learned a lot of things from you, listening to you, some of your podcasts that I've listened to, and some of the conversations we've just had, you know, like,
Yeah.
one that I've been doing is the goggles.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm bathing, I'm putting it in my hair. Every day I apply it topically. And like, I even intuitively started, like, one day I had, my gums were kind of swollen. So every morning I've been swishing with it.
Yep.
And I was always a thought, okay, you spit out your, you know, your Listerine and your mouthwashes. And I'm like, no, like, why would I do that? And I swallow it and go on with my day. And it was like crazy how fast all of the things in my gums changed. And even the color of my teeth. My kids have noticed that.
Same. Yeah. I know my teeth have never been whiter. It's so crazy. I mean, I brush my teeth with it. I swish with it. I gargle with it. I do like an oil, like I used to do an oil pull, only I would never do a 20-minute oil pull. I'd only do like a 3 to 5 minute oil pull. And that's all you need to do with the urine, and your teeth are whitened. I think it's the ammonia.
I'm because some of the stuff that I have, depending on like so fermentation, right? Depending on which type of vessel you use, whether it's conical and a smaller opening versus a wider opening, you'll get more ammonia created. Even if
really?
it's top.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you want, like, you think of this as wine or beer, things and even spirits, they have different glasses, so the aroma will change, right? Because if you stuck your nose right into a glass of wine as you got it, you're picking up all the acetone, right? All the alcohol, but you're not actually picking up the fragrance of what's really underlying there, the terroir of the wine, right?
Oh, right.
Smell, whether it's plums or peaches or grapes, you know, and that's kind of the same thing with your own orin, is like, if you got that vessel and you can just smell ammonia right away, right? Versus smelling it. My kids walk into the bathroom and they're like, I know something going on.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly what our upstairs bathroom is like.
Well, I have some that I have a wooden cover over, and really aging that, like, it's like this pristine gold color now. And I use that on like blemishes, and they go away within a matter of hours.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and that's all I use that one for.
How evolved is it when it's that golden color?
That one I started would be in January.
Okay. Do you have any that are like more than a year old?
No, I've used all of them.
Okay.
I guess I do have one that is a eye drop. That's
sure.
A year old.
So do you have any that's that deep red color yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one from January.
Oh, it is.
Okay. Like closed off. I put it in a fine, like the top comes up to a opening, and it's an older blue, the ball mason jars.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But then I let it breathe for quite a long time. In the last 2 months, I put in a wooden bowl over it.
Okay.
With one of my stones, right? So it just sits there, and it sits out in the corner of the bathroom. So it is getting some light, but not a lot, because it's got the blue glass.
That was my next question. Do you expose it to sunlight, or do you go charge it in the sunlight at all?
I have done that. But then I left it open, and we have the box elder bug issue, right? Like where they come in the window. And then if you have that issue at your home and you want to get rid of box elder bugs, put out your orin. They will be gravitated towards it, and then they will all go away.
Really?
Yeah.
What about those beetle-y bugs that are like the color of my peacock here? Those.
Yeah, those too. Like they all like, oh my gosh, this is something they love, and then they jump in, but then you lose your your stuff, you know. Your collection.
It's the sacrifice. The sacrificial one.
But I generally put it in the window a lot of times.
Okay. Do you take internally the evolved Orin?
So here's like I started trying something because uh, of like upset stomach or
Mhm.
not feeling like I'm digesting as well. I'll do some of the aged with
Okay.
some of the new, and the
Oh,
aged stuff is like a couple months old, and I'll just do about a tablespoon.
okay.
And it's crazy because you would think like your morning one generally, it's almost instantaneous, right? You get the internal enema aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is like onset hours later. All of a sudden you're like, well,
Oh,
gotta go to the bathroom.
ah,
So
interesting.
yeah, and I've done that multiple times now, just with like upset stomach and things like that, and it's settled my stomach.
Is it because it's like a diuretic and it has a high sodium content, and then as it, as it evolves, it like heightens
I
that
would
or something?
assume that would be the case.
Okay.
Um, like the ammonia grows in that over and over, like
I
that
suppose.
grows. So in a sense, it's kind of alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
In a
Well,
way.
it's
So,
ferment.
mm-hmm. So the material it grows. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. You would have to culture your own, I'm sure, to find out what type of bacterias are in there. You
Right.
know, fungi or yeasts and those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's your own.
You've heard about the growing the human mushroom?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that yet.
I
Like,
know. I haven't seen any much evidence of that.
yeah, I'm not like I don't know if I would. It. I have been thinking like the last couple days of like how would I turn this into like something that if I were to give it the drink to somebody, they wouldn't know that it's orange if I fermented it and turned it into something, right? Like doing the distillation of like making alcohol.
Yeah.
If I distilled this, would it still have any good properties?
I was wondering that too. That was going to be another question I had for you.
So I think about these things, but I haven't done them yet.
Okay.
If there would be any benefit to that, I
Yeah.
don't know if there would be.
Well,
But
it's already distilled. It's
are
already an
distilled.
ultra filtrate structured. I can't imagine in like
A
in
lot of
theory.
like grain alcohols that they're like the top notch ones.
Hmm.
They're distilled 4 to 7 times. A lot of them.
Okay.
So what that does is it filters out more impurities because they're all collected within the column.
Yeah.
But then it also ups the alcohol content of
Hmm.
said product. So, you know, like impurities could be getting captured in that. And, being that it is sulfurous already in its own, all
Yeah.
those impurities would be caught in the copper column, just like
Oh.
whiskey.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So
what is left?
do you kind of correlate that, Nick, though, to like the nephron system in the kidney? Like, isn't that what our kidneys are thousands of those? Isn't that
Yeah,
like why it
yes,
becomes,
totally. It's a distillate. Like we are
yeah,
a large walking still, I guess.
right? I think I mean, it's so magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about Brother Sage because he mentioned something about that. No, I don't know. I started thinking about the nephrons and I forgot. So okay. So you like what books have you read on it and like what kind of gave you a little bit more of like a better I want to say logical understanding because like it wasn't until I got a little bit more of a logical understanding that I was brave enough to go, okay, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna see what this is about.
I haven't read a lot of books, honestly. Like
Okay.
my I think from the years that you've known me and
Yeah.
Thaddeus has known me that I do a lot of things just intuitively.
Okay.
I'm just like I'm more of like I'll throw caution to the wind. I don't
Mhm.
do shits. I'll use myself as the experiment. And there's a negative outcome. I'm gonna tell people that like, hey, you should probably not do this, like
Yeah.
because this is what has happened to me. There is a lot of things that I will do a lot of research on, um, but a lot of these health related things, they just kind of intuitively come to me, and then I will, have a question and I'll research that question. So,
Okay.
Golden Fountain is the one I've read.
Okay.
I've listened to a lot of people in the past, yourself included. So
Oh.
not a lot of reading. Like this is, I don't know. This is my journey, and I'm trying to be tapped in and tuned in a lot more than I am like um, being the science part of it now. All of that in the last couple of years, I'm just like, that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and I think seriously, Nick, this is one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on and have people hear your voice, because we get so caught up in the scientism. And I feel the same as you. Like, there's certain things I'll research and I want to know more about, just because like I'm not super like I don't care about the science, like I should say, as much with most things. So I've never bought into scientism. I've always used my intuition. And now even the more like Orin that I add to my body, the more heightened my intuition is. And the more I'm like, oh, I need to listen to my body. What's my body saying? And it literally is like the health freedom. Like it's so cool. And it's so fun to hear other people talking about that and going, listen, you guys, we already are we remembering this information, right? Like this isn't need to be told to you by somebody, right? Maybe you can have like, and it's kind of like how Kundalini comes to you. That's what they say too, is like I'm a Kundalini instructor. And they say Kundalini, when you're ready for it, it comes to you. And I think, Orin is the same thing. When you're open, when you're ready, then it comes to you, right? So you must have been, are you frozen? Are you there, Nick?
So okay.
Hey,
I was being the host for about 5 seconds.
I was wondering. That's, it's funny. Look at our screen. You have your wife's name on your Zoom, and I have my husband's name on my Zoom. He's frozen again. Okay, I'll just talk. So I think that's really, really interesting. So Nick, are you there? He'll come back, I swear. He's so fun to talk to. He's just like got this really fun, calm, eccentric, right? He just seems like an eccentric from days of old. I feel like he's a 18th century character, not necessarily 2022 character. I wonder if he can hear me. There, he's back. Oh, I can't hear you.
Let's see.
There you are. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Did you hear any of my conjecture about your 18th century character?
No.
I'm like, I swear to God, Nick is like a character from the 18th century. He's like the wrong timeline. He's like this distiller, and like even your whole vibe. Like I know you like the 20s vibe stuff, but you seem even more ancient than that in a good way.
I've always felt like I've told, and Kara knows this, is like that I wasn't meant for this time, but I am meant for this time.
Yeah.
That I've always resonated with the time past, and those things weren't just because of nostalgia. It's because of the power that they held. Like my grandparents, I always gravitated around hanging around old people and listening to them talk. Like I listen to a bunch of drunk people sit at a bar now, talk to one another, and they sound like a bunch of high school kids.
Yeah.
Guessing over the same shit that we did when we were in school that I never liked to do anyways.
Right.
But it's such an interesting thing that I can now see that aspect of myself, and then watch people or listen to them and be the fly on the wall. Mm-hmm. And not judge them, but just like, where are they at in their life? Like now with the last couple of years of everything that's gone on, and even if this wouldn't have happened, where are they in their life? Like,
right,
spiritually, how disconnected are they? Because all they're talking about is like material shit.
Seriously, yeah.
So What was the question before you froze?
You know what? I think we were just chatting about you're in therapy. I think you brought up Cohn Vanderkroon. We went into scientism and intuitive medicine.
Yeah.
But let's take a little bit of a side note, and let's move over into carnivore, because I think a lot of people have questions. So a lot of conjecture about being a fruitarian, and your water will talk to you, and you're disrupting that whole thing again, right? Like you're the contrarian of urine therapy now.
I'm always a contrarian, that's for sure.
I know, right? Like, it's so fun. Well,
yeah, I don't dislike plants. I should say that. Like, I don't dislike eating them.
okay.
There is, but I know, like, I'm on my feet a lot, whether it's physical training and training for like these ultra stuff that I've been trying to get back into, whether it's work in the culinary field or what I'm doing now. I know when I go totally animal based and I get up in the morning and I can step on the floor and my feet don't hurt, even while doing this, like, okay, there's something in that animal tissue versus the plant tissue that's speaking to me and causing inflammation. If I'm doing all these low inflammatory things, why am I still having issues with like plantar fasciitis, right?
Okay.
I'm 43 years old. Like, I take care of myself. I run barefoot. I don't do like crazy. I don't eat highly inflammatory foods.
Right.
So I have, because of training this last year, but only for the last couple summer months, I've integrated eating some plants, but they're generally like carrots.
Okay.
I just love carrots. I don't know. Because generally eating carnivore, you're, no carbs. I'm trying to compete or train for an ultra marathon endurance race on top of working. I found myself that I perform a little bit better on my short distance, higher intensity by having those carrots.
Okay.
I can go forever really slow and not have to have any carbs. And I've seen that throughout the carnivore, I guess, evolution of people. Okay. You look on Dr. Baker's website, people are putting cornbread into things and they're eating. So it's made this change. It's not really what it was. Just like paleo and primal have done, they've all changed, and people start bringing in, because people do crave carbs, right? They do crave plant, and they do crave highly palatable garbage,
Yeah, right.
This has made, a big change for me, because I don't crave all of those things. But I do crave a really nice piece of meat. I don't care what it is. Like last night, I had slowly roasted a whole leg of venison. I ate that. And the other day, before, I had cod livers, and smoked salmon. And then I actually, with the smoked salmon, because it's a really great pair, I had an avocado with it.
Oh.
All high fat, and it's just a little plant. So I would say, like, I was very strict for the first 3 years of eating all just animal based.
Okay.
No plants.
Wait, and are you saying raw or cooked too?
I did both. Both. It just depends. Like, I really love raw burger, like tartare.
Okay.
And I'll eat that often, or like a piece of liver or heart or even ribeye steak that's just thinly sliced and salt and a little bit of acid to it. I love those things. It's another thing, it's intuitive that my body craves that, because I've been eating and or doing things that have been, I think, for the lack of better terms, burning the candle at both ends. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. I've been training 1 to 2 times a day, every day. And then I've now been bartending, and sometimes I bartend till like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I still get up to do the sunrise.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, okay, this is what I really crave today.
Yeah.
I want this. I ate like a whole half pound or a whole pound of raw meat like on Wednesday.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's 2 pounds. It just depends. But I found myself after doing Orin is that I don't eat as much anymore now.
Definitely.
Like literally, like I would have to eat like 3 to 5 pounds of meat.
Mm-hmm.
I just like don't, and I
Wow.
can go a long time, and that's crazy doing like training for the ultra.
Well,
That
are you looping like all day then?
no,
Okay.
because I just really can't where I'm at. Like I guess I could go to the bathroom often, but I'm just so busy. It's like I don't
Mm.
often get a chance to go to the restroom. Um, and I'm trying to drink. They luckily there's RO water where I'm at,
Oh, nice.
or I'm drinking and bringing my own distilled water.
Okay.
Um, so sometimes I'll actually drink right before I go to bed. We've talked about that too.
Yep.
Or I'll drink right after I've trained. So it's
Okay.
just for me, it's a super intuitive thing. Like I don't. Sometimes there's no rhyme nor reason. It's
Yeah.
just in the morning. That's the first thing I think about.
Mm-hmm.
I get up and I go do that.
Yep.
And I'm a purist. It's like as soon as it comes out of the tap, I'm down with it. And
Do you
I'm
drink all of it in the morning? Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever fits in my large cup.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's some days like because I've trained really hard and I've worked long hours and I didn't hydrate well enough. It's
Mm.
not as much. I don't feel it.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. So what does it taste like? I guess if you are always carnivore and you kind of have been drinking it on being a carnivore, it's gonna taste like the same. Like you won't really know the difference if you switch over to fruitarian, right? Like you wouldn't know.
yeah, I've done some days where it's like I've fasted, right, and then it changes flavors. It's not as
Okay.
bitter. I
Okay.
People say bitter. To me,
Yeah.
it's not bitter. I like those types of flavors.
Hmm.
Like if I was going to drink an alcoholic beverage, right? Like I don't want something that's like super sweet. I
Yeah.
just to me that is um repugnant. I like kind of get like sick from.
Right.
So I was talking to my son about this on the drive home the other day, and we were talking about looping, and we were talking about carnivore, and I was like, I don't crave because I don't ever eat carbs really, except for the carrots and maybe salad and avocado.
Okay.
So I'm probably still under 25 grams of carbs a day, even when I eat those things. Is I don't crave sugar, I crave fat. And when I have a little bit of sugar, it sends me into this like place where I'll tell I want to eat, but then it
Hmm.
also makes me sick, like my
Huh.
stomach. I don't feel like good in my head, kind of
Yeah.
like feeling weird. So
Yeah.
I,
Even like, so you don't eat any fruit. There's no fruit that crosses your plate.
till yesterday I did because I went and foraged a bunch of blackberries.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Those, I'm trying to be. It's just it's super challenging right now with just our schedule to like get out there and forage and do all
Yeah.
the things and I want to do that more, and there will be a day that I probably have to do that more.
Yeah.
And those would be the things that I would eat. Those would be, because they're in season, they're
Right.
here. When Minnesota winters come along, that's all I'm going to eat is fat and meat.
Yeah.
You know, or there's these things that are here that I'm I'm not a masochist in the sense of like I don't want to like beat myself down like and
Yeah.
say or a stoic in that sense of like you can never have anything good,
Right.
just because you've chosen this path.
Do you see that you're going to stay on this path for like for now or for a long time, or does that?
There's no reason for me to switch gears, right? To change paths at this point.
Okay.
Like I have a poster in my studio that says use it to your advantage, and when that no longer serves you, set it aside.
I love that. No dogma.
Yeah. Because
I don't.
I've gone through the dogma so much
Yeah.
within this health industry that we've been into,
Yeah.
and it creates division, just like
Right.
jumping on this train has
Mhm.
created division, and some of the people that we know and care about are like, they're fucking disgusting. And they were
Yeah.
talking. Yeah. Well,
Right.
okay, fine, like whatever.
Yeah. And how do you mentally, deal with that? I had somebody on Instagram say some negative things in the way that they were describing, the hot liquid that comes out of your body and whatever. And I was like, for like a half a day, I was kind of like, how do I respond to that even? Like what do I even say? And then I'm like, I don't have to fucking say anything for one. And then it's like, it's not right for everybody. And it's not, if it's not in your path, then that's no worries, right? Like you're not, whatever. It's not, I don't want to be divisive either about it, right? And judgmental or whatever, but it's like, this is what works. Is I've had profound healings, Nick, like things that haven't had healed in 25 years. My latest one is my neck. I've had a neck injury, herniated disc. Remember, I'm always like, oh, my neck and blah, blah, blah. I've been doing, first I started with coffee, 2 coffee enemas. Then I moved to just fresh. And then I moved to fresh plus evolved. And when I got back from the Boundary Waters this year, my neck did not hurt.
Wow.
And I carried a long portage with a canoe, not a pack in a canoe, but just a canoe. But I was like, Thaddeus, my neck doesn't hurt. My neck doesn't hurt. I was like, oh my God. And even the other day I was like, babe, my neck still doesn't hurt. And I know, like, intuitively, it's been the enema situation. I talked to Brother Sage about it. And he's like, so many people get misdiagnosed with constipation and low back pain. Do an enema and it releases so much from your body.
Well, that's, like one of the biggest things, and this is probably very, from the lack of better terms I'm trying to think of, is like, this is just about my aesthetics, right? So
Mhm.
I noticed because I heard the certified health nut talk about it, and he's like, yeah, I did the enema, and all of a sudden you could see my abs. Because of doing this and then doing hyperpressives, like, I don't really have to do much to have abs.
Yeah.
And for me, because of my posture, because of the job that I did, because of my stress, I've never had abs. Like, it was always like they were never defined. And I literally do this. And if I eat something that's inflammatory or eat an amount that gives me an inflammation, because I'm generally sit about 148, 149, and I'll gain 10 pounds in a day, and I'll do an enema, and then I'll loop, and literally that process will take me 1 day to go back to where I was and lose the inflammation. But before, it usually took me a week and a half.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to do all the things and trying to fast, trying to.
So are you doing coffee or urine, or what are you doing?
Straight urine.
Okay.
Just
fresh?
I'll collect for 2 days.
Okay.
And then if I have like aged stuff, I'll do half and half with distilled water.
Oh, okay.
Like I do all the time, but but yeah, I like the distilled water. Just to me, they're both congruent with one another.
Nice.
Feels like so.
I'll have to try that. Yeah, I'm just like straight up either fresh. I just kind of started with the fresh and then moved to half and half, evolved and fresh. And it's such an interesting evolution, that journey in itself. Like I was scared shitless to even do it. I was like, oh, I don't know.
That was kind of my thought process too. It's like, okay, I'm ingesting this one, but now I'm introducing this bacteria, right? This idea of bacteria into my colon. Like, what the fuck? Like,
right.
But then I was like, what? Screw it. I'm already drinking it. It's pretty much, I'm a donut. I'm just passing things through the donut. But
I love that analogy. Especially from a carnivore.
Yeah, the meat donut.
That's so awesome. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So as far as like taste goes, if people are like, okay, I notice that when I eat fruits and vegetables, it tastes this way. And then if I eat meat, there's like maybe a pH difference in acidity. Do you have anything to add about that? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I tested the pH once or twice, like in the acidity, and it's kind of on the higher end, but not like crazy. But I suspected that it would be anyways,
Okay.
and especially like the amount of like training that I do too, and stuff like that, and the stress that you have, your pH is going to change, right? We
Okay.
how cortisol affects us.
Oh, sure.
So, um, any more of that kind of stuff though too, like where I hear that we have to, I guess it just goes back to the scientism
Yeah.
aspect, like these fucking white coats, right? And I have friends that are white coats,
Yeah.
right? They're the ones that are on the fringes, and they're just having to keep their mouth shut, right? So like we know of one together, like he's a very brilliant guy, but that aspect of I want to keep my paycheck.
Yeah.
To me, nothing is less important. You can
Yeah.
go for yourself. Sorry
Right.
for my language, but like,
No, I love it. This is why you're on this podcast.
yeah, keep your money, like, keep your money, right? Keep your thing. Like, this is like, you're not compensating me for shit, anyways.
Yep.
I'm working for your paycheck, and your paycheck is your dream. But that's why I look at what I'm doing right now, because of bartending. I'm literally like using it as reconnaissance and learning. Like, I'm not looking at it as like I'm getting a paycheck for where I'm at and what I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm looking to learn from the best in the industry, and this person that is the manager of this place is
Okay.
has worked with all of these great, well-known bartenders throughout the age, like Dave Arnold and whatnot. And so these are the geek nerd dorks that I want to be around, because
Nice.
they're going to teach me all these skills and these techniques, and they actually want me around because they saw through my resume what kind of skills I have, right? So it's, and
Nice.
that I can teach other people and do those things. And that's how that this is, like, for me, Carnivore and Orin therapy is like literally, it's the intuitive aspect of what I can bring to the table for myself, and then like hopefully teach somebody else how to do it, like my kids.
Yeah. Are they receptive? The kids? Can I ask? Do you mind?
Yeah. Ludo and Rocco are. Beck and Ari, being the older two, more into the scientism. Well, let's say the oldest, more into that idea.
Yep.
It's like almost was there last night, but like still kind of like, because I showed her, like, Ludo had a big like cyst essentially on his leg and one on his shoulder,
Okay.
and he used his age stuff, and it like literally is like a flaking off scab within days, and it's not pussy and nasty. And the same thing happened with his infection of his sliver. Rocco got rid of a pimple like within a day, and so they see it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, this is like the youngest two, and anytime they now get hurt, like scrape, that's what Ludo goes and does. He uses his stuff.
So brilliant.
And then he's like, healed. And then he's healed.
Yeah. And then I think the big picture in that too is like, you are teaching your children to help themselves.
Yeah.
Like, hallelujah. Thank you for doing that. I mean, that is, to me, that's parenting, right? Like, that's how I parent my children. And when I see that out there, I'm like, I tell parents too, thank you so much for helping raise, an independent child who can talk to adults, who can, do all these things that a lot of kids can't today, and help themselves. Like, that's a huge thing.
Yeah. Well, just show my older one that she buys all these products, and like, look in here, there's ammonia.
Yeah.
There's urea, right? There's like other like collagen and all these other things that you're purchasing, and you're spending a ton of money, and they came out of a horse or a cow or collected out of a urinal.
Yep.
But you produce this yourself. You just have to age it to get to these certain content, and you can put it on your skin, and it's going to be a holographic imprint of you, and it's going to heal you faster, and you're going to have a healing crisis or a healing event faster than you would by using these things that now your body has to detox all the other shit out of it.
Right.
So you're a filter. And
Right. And
think
it's
of-
in its purest form. Sorry, go ahead.
No, think of cleaning your filter, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the terroir. Like this is wine, grapes grow in the soil, and other what just wheat or grains do the same thing, and that's their terroir, and they give off a certain flavor. And this is terrain theory, right? So we do the same thing. Like you're living in this environment, but you're feeding it Takis and shit. Other shit.
I'm like,
Like they're like the nasty Doritos, and I tell my kids these things have stem cells in them from aborted fetuses. Why do you want to be eating that?
right.
Like that's fucking straight up cannibalism into like trauma-based form that is higher than anything you could ever get.
Do they then, Nick, go, oh, you're full of shit, I don't care, I'm gonna eat it anyway?
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, and then I give them the proof, and here's the document, and here's the I'm like, okay, whatever. But then I'm like, you're a baby eater.
You would be such a trippy dad to have. Oh my God.
Well,
Can you imagine? Oh my
No, I
God.
stopped drinking Pellegrino because of that.
Yeah. We don't drink it.
Sick. It made me sick that I used to drink that. And
I know.
Like, we're using these.
What's the deal with Pellegrino? Because I just know it from the mineral content. Like I don't.
Cyomex. Cyomex is a company that harvests aborted fetal cells, liver fetal cells, and they use it in San Pellegrino and other foods to make them hyper palatable.
No.
So Gatorade is huge, one of those things, right? Too. So there's all these companies that do this and use it. Cyomex is the company that creates these flavor products,
Okay.
you will. So
Is that under the natural flavor category?
a lot of times it is, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, but they're taking them from aborted fetal cells, and if we look at that and we look at the imprint of any of these cells and the imprint of water, right? We talk about that, and it carries on into these products, and you're ingesting trauma, you're ingesting fear, you're ingesting all of these things that are literally like, but they're weakening your spirit, right?
Yeah.
And they're making you more programmable.
Right.
And
They're putting up blocks too.
yeah.
That's like huge walls, huge blocks. What are some of the other things that you so I have got Brother Sage that just jumped on, and Michael Hood with Shayla Sananda and Aaron Essner are all here to say hi.
Hello.
And I do have a with Shayla question coming up with her daughter as well. But what are some of the other products, Nick, that people should be wary of? So San Pellegrino and Gatorade. I mean, it's the things that most of us, probably in this circle don't ingest anyway. But San Pellegrino, I didn't know.
Yeah, a lot of those things, a lot of those companies are using those, and I can send you the link. I saved the company's address and what all the products are, because there's hundreds of products.
Wow. Okay.
That are on there.
Yeah, do that, because we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
I think people are
thinking of something that's as obtruse as San Pellegrino. Thinking we're drinking a mineral water that's helping us and that's clean, and it has this fucking product in it, right? Like, and it's not a product, it's a human fucking vibration.
Yeah.
That's in it. And I'm not ingesting that,
No.
Like, it's
Right.
hard to live in this realm now and to even go to a restaurant and eat or drink something that isn't disrupted.
Right.
By energy and trauma and glyphosates, herbicides, like genetically modified ingredients.
Right.
So maybe if like a lot of times what I think about, if I'm doing this therapy and it's re-educating my body and pulling this stuff out of my body, who knows? Like,
yeah,
if I eat that, or if I accidentally do it.
And it is, Nick, like it's pure. I look at Owen therapy as completely purification. I'm purifying my body, because back in, like, we'll bring it back to, being a fetus yourself, right? Yeah. It's the pure liquid and that's the best argument. I don't like to argue because I don't really do that well, but it is the best argument out there or in therapy, and you can't deny that one. We are in amniotic fluid and urine for 9 months of our lives. And that's what, the stem cells, it creates our lungs. It's like, it's everything. It's life. It's the life force, really, of our body. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just that's like what's happened with the Roe v. Wade in this conversation. Like, because I had to sit down with my daughter and we had this conversation, and I didn't know where she aligned with that, right? Mm-hmm. And to a father to hear his daughter say it's just a cluster of cells, and like, I'm literally was like, she's like, now you're mad because you're not talking. I was like, no, I'm thinking of how I respond to my daughter.
Yeah.
Like spiritually, because things to me, there's no longer this line of science dictates everything, because there is no the science. It's never settled. Nothing's settled. We don't know jack shit. And you know what though? Like, you're spiritually part of me. And that's why it hurt. Like, it's not hurtful, but it's like, it takes my breath away. How do I respond to you? And so a lot of times when I'm at work and I'm listening to people, or we're in these environments where we're catering to other people's needs, I just keep my mouth shut. Like, usually I would be the guy that like, okay, we're going to have this little debate back and forth. And I'm just like, man, it is not worth it.
No.
Like, you're already like brainwashing down your path, and I'm brainwashing down my path. Like,
yeah.
Right. I don't need to butt heads with you right now, because it's not going to bring me any happiness.
Right.
To be egotistical and like, I want a fucking conversation with you, or
right. Yeah. And I mean, and those things are all meant to distract us, right? Like, we're all on the same kind of page with that, especially when the Roe v. Wade. Do you know that ripple effect thing? Yeah,
I watched that video that Thaddeus put together, and
I know, isn't that fun? When he brought that up to me, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, that's so fascinating. I love learning about that.
But intuitively, we know this. If we
totally
think of like how we are being reiterated in time. And I told my daughter this, and her boyfriend, in the quantum physics idea, is like, I am you and you are me. It's just my same I can't say the word now, iteration. I was my grandfather was me, and I am seeing myself in all of these times.
Right.
Like, I'm still here and I'm still vibrating, and they're like, oh, now you're getting too much out there. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, literally, this is us. Like, all the same stuff is going to keep happening because we're blind to the fact that I'm still this person, and I genetically following this line, if you want genetics, like, that's how it works.
Right. I love when people are like, whoa, you're a little too much for me. You're a little too on the, edge of out there. I'm like, good. You're supposed to hear this right now.
That's a great response.
Right. And then I always say to my kids too, I'm like, and you'll come back around someday and want to know more. And then we'll have another conversation. And in the meantime, I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to be like, you know what? Just sit with that. You're just planting seeds. It's all good.
Most of the time, I'm just waiting to pull out my tinfoil hat and put it on.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, oh, this is that guy.
Right. Oh my God, that's so funny. So yeah, with Shayla's it's her birthday, so happy birthday with Shayla. Yeah. And okay, so I introduced this concept to Shayla, and her daughter is in getting her master's degree, and she does something with water. I'm not really sure like what specifically that is, but she had some institutional, I'm not being demeaning about it, I'm just trying to categorize it, like it is coming from a scientism, perspective. And then there was some conjecture about urine, and then the heavy metal content that is in the urine, in the output. And then why would you re-ingest that? So her daughter was wondering what, I was just looking to see if she responded at all, to like, why would you then put that back in your body? Like, do you have any?
Yeah, so I would just say, number one, it's a distillation, correct? Mm-hmm. So distillation has a different charge, magnetic charge, right? We already know distilled water can't hold on to the volatile organic compounds that are heavy metals when you pull them into your body.
Yep.
So if you're doing the same thing with the distillate, this is just my sense that it's yours. And you know what? Talking to a guy that is 90 or like 50% of his body is covered in tattoos and drinks his own urine and eats only meat and has had his blood tested for heavy
Yeah.
metals and has no heavy metal toxicity,
Okay.
I would say, well, you know, am I just the outlier, like, because I am a contrarian, or like, is there something to it? I don't really know, but I don't.
So you're saying if anybody has heavy metal in their urine, you're a really likely candidate.
I'm a really likely candidate,
Okay.
right? But we know, like, and Thaddeus does a very good explanation of this, of the magnetic charge of the distillation you're going to pull out all of those heavy metals, and they're not going to seed in your fat. They're going to seed in your large intestine and your colon, and you're going to excrete them through your poop.
Right.
Right? Like, if I'm saying that correctly, he can change or not, but that's the understanding. And, you know, and like I said, I'm proof positive that it's not.
Yeah.
You know, I would say more along the lines, if you're not doing this, which is a detoxification, and you're like our friend Peter that owns a company that trains people how to shoot, and he touches the lead every day, and he had his metals tested, and he has very high lead content, and now has to wear gloves to do that, and was using chelators to detoxify his body.
Oh my
then
God.
he's having an issue, right? So he's absorbing it through his skin. He's not detoxing his pathways lymphatically. So he's not exercising, he's not sweating, he's not breathing, right? He's not eating foods that will help him detox. Like chelators would be your spirulina, your coralina, right? Or chlorella, excuse me. And then other foods that do that too is your B vitamins.
Okay.
Cruciferous vegetables. You're not doing all these things, you're not eating like detoxing foods, right? It's gonna happen. I don't eat those cruciferous vegetables, but I do eat, like, I'll take the spirulina and the chlorella, and then I'll do the B vitamins and things to help. But there's a lot of those already in animal proteins. And I sweat a ton because I exercise a lot. I breathe daily. Every morning I'm doing breath work. Maybe twice a day I'm doing breath work. I don't breathe through my mouth. Those are all detox pathways, right? Every morning I do lymphatic massage on myself.
Nice.
I rebound. Running is like rebounding. So we're doing all these things to detox ourselves, and this is just another aspect of that. It's a distillate that's helping us detox. Detox is your pineal gland, for goodness sakes.
Right.
How could it like put heavy metals back into your pineal, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that's my thought.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. So so Rochella was responding. So she says she's an eco hydrologist. Hydrologist.
So we're talking about the ecology of the world versus the ecology of our body. Is that what I'm understanding? Like,
I think like water pathways of water, like in the environmental. Yeah.
That has nothing to do with humans, does it? I mean, it does and it doesn't.
Well, no, that's what she's studying. So she's studying the water of it. And then here's what she said. She read a paper that showed that lead is released in urine, which concerned her that if it's consumed, it could be a problem.
I see. Yeah. I'd be more concerned, like what I just said about Peter absorbing the lead through his fingertips and not being able to detoxify it. So if you're not excreting those heavy metals through your urine, and Amanda Vollmer talked about this too, as much as you are through your fecal matter.
Right.
So how are we chelating and getting all of these heavy metals out of our fat tissue and then excreting them, because it's a waste product of your poop is,
right,
not your urine.
And I think a lot of people get those things confused because we've been so misled. Thank you, Rockefeller education. Yeah. Right. So the three pathways, you guys, are the lymphatic system, your sweat, your breath, and your feces, right? Like those are the three. Are there more, Nick, that you, because those are the
Those are
main
the
three.
major keys that I hit on people.
Okay.
Like you need to make sure you're going to the bathroom. You need
Yep.
to exercise, right? Because exercising will help you sweat, but it massages the lymphatic pathways. You need to breathe because that respiration is another detox, right?
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
those are the main three.
Okay.
Mm.
I just wanted to tell you really quick, I'm doing a breath class and it's breath work combined with lucid dreaming. I think you would totally dig it. It's super interesting. It's my friend Eric Casano.
Okay.
He runs the Telegram channel, Dr. Shivambu.
Okay.
I don't know if are you on that one?
No, will be now.
Yeah, jump on there. There's a lot of really cool, like just really, really edgy information that gets passed around on that channel. But he is the one that Kelly Brogan interviewed him, and he cured his cancer in 3 weeks with just looping orin and distilled water.
Wow.
He went back to his doctor and he's like, do another test. I want to do another test. And he had testicular cancer, and they're like, it's gone. What did you do?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just unbelievable,
that's awesome.
the healing. And he's a super cool guy. He runs retreats out in Malibu, and he's a musician. Like you need to know him. He's really awesome. I had him on the podcast before I started doing them on live. So I've got a recording of his story, and yeah, but the lucid dreaming with the breath work, because I know you're a fellow breathwork aficionado, and I'm just finished week 1, and I had like the trippiest dream last night. I'll tell you about that when we're off recording, but it's been really interesting, just going down that path. But I love how he's combining the two. Nobody else is really doing that.
Speaking of dreams, I have to say, like after doing this for so long, and have doing some like trauma work, my own with breath work and those things, like my dreams are no longer violent like they used to be.
Right.
Like there are some times where I'm like, well, that's like really trippy and that's kind of like a fear-based thought, but I can switch it, like being cognizant in my dream, loosen. I'm not going to think that way.
Yeah.
And I can change that, which I had not been able to do before. But now generally my dreams are just like really peaceful, really cool, or just really like I'm on acid or something.
That's so awesome. I've just figured out that I can command that, right? Because you can say like, I command my dreams, and then take more of a commandership, lack of a better word. And I did that 2 nights ago with my dreams. I'm like, I don't want to dream about this stupid violent shit that I used to dream about. And I'm done with that. And when I was pregnant, it was really bad. I would have like night terrors. But now for 2 nights, I've had peaceful dreams and now prophetic dreams. And I'm like, that's so much better. It's so much more fun. But I said, I command my dreams to change, and it's like working. It's so cool.
No, it's because it's like what Neville Goddard says, if you can imagine it, you can create it, right? And there's other gurus that have said that same thing. He's not the only one. But, if every day, every morning, and every night when I wake up or I go to sleep, I say gratitude. And there's at least 100 things that I can give gratitude for. Never do I ever ask again God to give me something or to fix something. This is what I'm grateful for. And then I envision what I want my future home or area where I'm living at, because it's something physical that I can tangibly change and see and walk in my way around it and manifest it.
Nice.
And every day it gets like a little more clear, right? And so when I fall asleep thinking of that, it leads my dreams into these really cool places where like that is. But if I don't do that and I just like mindlessly go to bed, about the other things that I thought about, then I have those weird dreams, right? So it's like you're commanding it through your imagination. Those things.
Well, and I feel like that's, like creating a protective bubble around you too, because think about all the Wi-Fi and all the, microwaves that are interfering with that stuff and programming that in. So basically, if you don't do that, you are going to be bombarded with things that maybe aren't yours or for you, right?
Yeah, where I'm at, I know it's high Wi-Fi because I come home just exhausted, right? Like and I know that's a Wi-Fi issue because I wear my blue blockers at night, even though they don't want me to. I'm like, fuck you. Like, this is my body. This is
Yeah.
you. I want to feel good. It's already like high vibration of anxiety because we're like animals and we're in this environment where we think we're in fight or flight because there's loud music and all these people are being chaotic, right? So we live our lives in a constant state of fight or flight, even if we don't think about it. So then able to unravel that using our logic when we get home and our imagination,
right,
steer us into a better path. Like, I mean, I wish I would have really taken these things to heart when I was younger. And now I'm trying to teach them to my children, and hopefully they can do that, you know?
right.
Like, my daughter sits in her room that she's been here and her anxiety is really high. And it's like, because you're isolating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to caged animals. We've seen that with rats and mice. You put them in there and then they don't have partnership and they don't have community and connection. And now you're bombarding yourself with bad information and bad food.
Right.
That's just information, right?
Right.
Just more information.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do to change this so this works with that? Right. This is part of it for me.
Okay, I'm going to send you a YouTube video that I want you to share with her, if you don't mind. I'm like telling you what I'm going to do. But I just did it for the first time yesterday, and it is such a and the way the woman, she's a younger gal that talks about it, and the way she talks about, I mean, it's basically a DMT release, and it releases anxiety, and it's like 20 minutes. It's super fast. But it's just a little breathwork session. It's beautiful. It's calming, and I think it would really help.
Yeah. You know what? I don't have anxiety anymore.
Not for you, but for
no, I know, but I'm just saying, literally, I don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's so foreign to me. And I had I had one episode like 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
Where I did have like, because I thought myself into it when I was laying there. And then it got to a point where it was like too far gone, right? Yep. And I knew that this was all a thought process. But I don't have anxiety like I used to ever again. Like, maybe my dopamine receptors are fried. I don't know, but
oh my God.
Right?
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I mean, but it is, and it changes you. And I think we're really speaking about the urine therapy, you guys. And we're calling it Orin. If you don't know what that means or why, go back to the Brother Sage video and watch it. He talks all about that. You know, it's Aquaman's first name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Brother Sage said that Andrew Norton Weber discovered that he went back into it might have been even a Wikipedia thing, I'm not sure, that he went back and found somehow that Orin is the first name of Aquaman in the Marvel series.
I would not doubt it, because what do we know? Movies tell you truth.
Yeah.
News tells you lies.
Exactly. But so Norton Weber was the one who first coined the word Orin. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And he's underground, and that Brother Sage thinks he's somewhere anonymous, but I'd like if anybody knows anything about him, I'd love to get him on to resurface. I guess he got, I don't know. I don't want to go there. We can talk about that afterwards, but I do, Nick, I want to move into like some of the health freedom ideas. I mean, it feels like this is a perfect segue to do that. Yeah. And I want you to talk about your PMA, because I'm like, without sounding contrite, like I'm super proud of you for doing that. I want to do that myself with my new like venture that I'm working on. And it's such an inspiration. And I love my apron that you sent. And I want you to share with people like what the fuck you're doing, what your program is, what's the PMA, what is a PMA, right? And so like, let's go into that.
So first I would have to preface this with like Orin therapy and what I'm doing now. It is intentional, but it's organic, right? Like, and Neville really puts this in a way that resonates with me, is like everything has its time of gestation. I'm planting a seed, and now the time of gestation will be its own sacred time, not my own, right? So I did all of this pre-work and did all of this stuff to learn, because I feel in the next, now hopefully it's not just the next few months, but maybe it's a year, um, that we're going to be led into a place where we have to congregate um, outside of norms, say in restaurants, grocery stores, um, personal gatherings, where we um, can use our commerce and we can use our currency in a way that is beneficial for both parties, not like it has been now, where we're using money that's fiat currency or digital currency, which is controlled, watched, and worth nothing.
Mhm.
Right? So, a private membership association, or PMA, as it's called, is the way that we used to do business constitutionally. And it was me and you contracting with one another, maybe by a handshake or a verbal agreement, and maybe by a written document. So they didn't always, like, this has to go into contract law, right? So we have statutory and non-statutory contract law. One is written by the service corp members, that would be your attorneys and your lawyers, and then one is written by ourselves, private, free individuals, if you will, right? So not to go far into like
Yeah.
the freedom movement and that idea. So it's protected by the U.S. Constitution, the First, Fourth, Fifth, Ninth, 10th, and the 14th Amendment.
Whoa.
Basically, these all have to do with contract law, and if we read those, we'll understand that. But that basis of the Constitution does not give you your freedoms. Your freedoms come from a divine source. Uh, that comes from the zygote, from the beginning. This is natural law, and no man gives you any freedom. It is innately yours. And so that's how PMA works, right? Is like, I'm not asking for freedom. I'm stating through the documents that this government wrote that these are innately my freedoms and they come from the divine. And you have no um, jurisdiction over me. You can't close my business down. You can't tax me in a certain way. Um, and I am free to do whatever I want because I'm not harming anybody. That's the whole idea of a PMA, is that too, is that we're not harming anyone. As through contract law, is like, if I intentionally was set out to hurt you, then I'm breaking a law, right?
Okay.
I'm breaking a natural law, one, because I've stole from you. I've stole your sense of security. I physically probably hurt you. So that sense of security on top of physically harming you is breaking the natural law, right? Like,
Right.
that's the golden rule. We don't need anything to be written down to say that you did something wrong, you broke a law. A lot of times what we're battling is legalese,
Right.
man-made arbitrary bullshit that's saying you need to be mandated statutes, or policies or codes that say you can and can't do something. The Supreme, just for instance, like the Supreme Court has debated this for years, and there's over 300 rulings from the Supreme Court. Now you see the Supreme Court is being under fire for actually following their ideas in the way they should, right? But that you don't need a license to operate your motor vehicle and drive on a highway, because that falls under commerce, universal, right? So you don't need that. But we say we need one because we're jumping back and forth in the matrix. And honestly, I am playing the matrix game right now. That's why I chose to take a job.
Okay.
I'm seeing and I'm teaching myself as it goes what I can and what I can't do in their terms, and how far I can push the boundaries.
I love it.
With taxation, this goes with being a commercial entity or being my private individual. Plus, I'm using them to learn, right? Like, that's how we should all do things. We should use others that are willing to pay you to learn. School, you're paying in to be indoctrinated. A job, right? They're paying you to learn something.
Yeah. Right. So,
Yeah, mate.
so yeah, just to back up a little bit. So the natural law thing, I think, if you harm another person or property, right, then you're breaking the law. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's biblical in a sense of like the eye for an eye, right?
Yep.
Or like, this is how where it comes from in those, that hyperbole is or allegory, excuse me, is like a man's bull broke out of his farm, and then proceeded to break down the neighbor's fence. So the farmer is now responsible for repairing the other farmer's fence.
Right.
Not It's his life is not going to be taken, right? So now say that bull breaks out, it breaks through the fence again, and now it destroys another piece of property. So now that farmer is on the line for all those pieces of property, but he's been warned. Now, if this bull gets out, we're going to take its life, right? Because that's an eye for an eye. It's destroyed all the property, and we've seen that it's created a pattern, and we're going to get rid of this. But so now that bull breaks out, it breaks down the fence, it breaks through, and then it hurts or injures or kills somebody else. Now they take that farmer's life and the bull's life because they are paying reciprocity in equal portions, right? But like, basically the hyperbole is that we're just paying equal for what's been destroyed.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, like, I'm not looking to take another man's life for anything.
Right. So when you bring that into like driving, right? Like if you can travel, I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like you can travel. If you don't have a license plate, you're going to get pulled over. Probably that's the reality of it. Yeah. Which I think you've experienced that, right?
Yeah. And you don't fall under their jurisdiction by understanding them. Like stand under. That's kind of. Yeah, but it's literally, it's just like, I'm not going to talk to you about this thing that you said I did. And basically, like, and I'm not going to agree that I broke a law.
Right.
Because it's not a law. And basically what I said, he's like, your tabs have been expired. And I'm like, oh, really? For that long? I was like, I knew they've been expired, but not for that long. And I'll take care of that. I'm not going to be a jerk with them.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I exactly said to them, the individual, about that. And it was along the lines of like, I don't really need this to travel.
Oh,
and
really?
He kind of laughed and smirked like he knew what I was talking about. But
really?
He a ticket anyways. And I'm like, whatever, but I never paid it.
Really?
Because I sent in an affidavit of fact about this, and another one is like, I was pulled off of the road by a man that by an emergency vehicle that then approached my car with a loaded weapon. Like, okay, that's put me in a state of duress.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not break any laws. Right? These are policy statutes and codes. And I have not heard anything from them in the last 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, you get these other ones that call you, like you're driving on a toll pathway in California, Colorado, keep sending you a bill to try to collect. Mm-hmm. Well, I went through bankruptcy as well. And I know that's bullshit as well.
Yeah.
If you are going to have to take me to court for $90, well, okay, go ahead. Like, I'll just, I'll do the discovery, I'll do the paperwork, and I'll figure it out on my own. Not that I know all of this stuff. I'm very new to it, but I'm not afraid to learn. I used to be afraid because that's what they wanted us to do, is be afraid.
Right. I always call the tolls, I call them trolls. I mean, it totally is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just forgot the R, guys. Like, you might as well just put the R in there.
Well, I can't drive in this one lane because I don't pay the Service Corp members a yearly troll fee to have this box in my car that tracks me everywhere I fucking go. Oh, I see. So, but you'll take a picture of me, which I believe is an infringement on my privacy.
Yeah.
And so every time I drove by, I gave it the finger because I knew. And maybe I sent me all the tickets.
we were taught by Chan to just pull your hat down. So we pull our hats down.
I did this.
I love that.
But
It's so awesome.
you know, I just like we've got to this point of like where as individuals we need to just walk our truth and not be afraid.
Yeah.
They can't do anything to us.
Right.
I think the fear that people have is that they're going to harm you physically or kill you, right? Like, okay, well, if they do, they've broken the golden rule. That's their karma, and this is my
Right.
path that I'm supposed to walk. I've been shot at. Someone's tried to kill me, and it took away a lot of those fears. But what took away a lot of those fears is like death means the beginning. I'm just starting over. Like this is just a meat suit.
Yeah.
And are we really going to feel that pain? Like how many soldiers have you heard to talk about like I got shot and I didn't know?
Yeah.
It was the adrenaline, or like
Right.
they started harming me and then I just like went into a different place. How many mothers don't remember labor pains?
Right.
Because if we remembered that, we would not ever do it again, right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly. Totally. Okay. So
yeah.
back to the PMA. How is it like structured? And then how do you build like a business around it? Like give us kind of like, this is what the elite do, right? Like, isn't that what the
Well,
deal
they
is?
create trusts, but
Okay.
this is a trust in itself.
Okay.
So PMA is essentially, this is where I can operate my business, and then you would create an LLC that is a trust, right? And then all of the funding will go through like your PMA, because a PMA is also it can be set up as a nonprofit.
Okay. And then
Right.
PMA, just so people know, it's Private Membership Association. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so that everybody that becomes part of your PMA has to sign a contract with you, and they have to pay whatever your membership fee is.
Okay.
It could be a penny. It could be $99. It could be $1,000.
Right.
And it has an agreement. There's a contractual agreement. If you read in that, depending on how they wrote it, who wrote it, or what it's for. So from there, all of the money goes, or funds or donations goes through your PMA, and then from the PMA you can set up an LLC, right, where then that can be set up as a trust, and it goes into trust.
Okay.
That's how the elites do it, right?
Okay.
Like they use trusts.
So to set up a PMA, do you have to do something illegal?
No, none of this is illegal because you're using the Constitution. So you can choose to file your paperwork with the state if you want. That is not a legal requirement. The only legal requirement for PMA, and this is not legal because we know the IRS, the Federal Reserve, and those are not true federal entities, but you have to set up an EIN.
Okay.
Right? So an employee identification number, but you can set up a 98 EIN, which is registering you as a foreign entity.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So guess who is another foreign entity? The IRS. Well, they're not foreign, but they're set up in Puerto Rico, which is
right.
It is a U.S. territory, not a U.S. state. So you're just playing the game that they're playing.
Yeah.
In a sense, right? But you're doing it. It's all legal. It is all legal, and like I'm not looking to break laws or to get myself in the limelight. And I have family that I want to protect. So we are registered as a 508.
Okay.
So I have a nonprofit church.
Oh, really?
A religious organization.
I didn't know that part of it. Okay.
So that's why we speak about the things that we speak, because we can speak about those things because people read into our contract that we can talk about those things.
Yeah. Right?
But I don't discriminate sex or gender or age or ethnicity or any of those things, right? You're free to come as you are. Who you want. We're just going to align, or we're not. on these conversations, but that's why we're doing it around a table, because we're going to break bread with one another, and we're going to have a Socratic discussion that is civil and from a place of love. And if there isn't that, then get the fuck out. And I hold all the authority to remove and to rescind your membership, right?
I love that.
It's okay. Like, and it's only because there's the decisiveness of, like, if you didn't agree with somebody, that's totally okay. But if it came to a place of, like, where you're tarnishing their name or trying to hurt them physically, like, say I love you.
Yeah. So is your PMA specifically for local people to gather, or is it something is it virtual, or like, how does that work?
No, this one specifically, it would be local, that is set up in Minneapolis, but a PMA can operate in any state.
Oh, okay.
So I'm free to do business in all 50 states.
Okay.
Right. So to do transactions, I should say, not business, but yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of the events that we're going to have are here. But so if somebody wanted to, say, hire me to do a retreat on a farm in Vermont or in Massachusetts, right? Like, they would personally contract with me.
Okay.
But all the guests would not have to contract with me, because I contracted with that one person. So I'm doing all the food and alcohol or whatever that is for that one person, because I contracted with them. But all the other people can partake in those things because that one person is paying the contract fee.
Wow.
Right.
That's that's smart. Huh.
Yeah. So you have all these different ways you're doing it, and it's all legal.
So that's okay.
You get to keep because you're being compensated for your time. This isn't a job. This isn't my job or what I do for work. Is what I do for compensation. This is how I bring the raw material from the earth, right? Like if I was making a horseshoe, you know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Wait.
So I'm being compensated for my time.
Okay.
Because I'm giving of my time, not being compensated for a task. That's a job.
Right.
John Singleton talks about that, right? Like, I'm not self-employed.
Right.
I am me. I'm Nick, and this is what I do. And you're compensating me for my time and what I do.
Yep.
So that's
so what's your PMA called?
Feral Social.
Feral Social.
Yeah, like whether we're gonna do course meals, cooking classes, vacations in this area or even other areas where they're at really nice Airbnbs.
Okay.
To come have the course meal entertainment, like all the bar stuff, all that fun, and then get to stay the night as well. Cool. It's at feralsocial.club. You can see all the different tiers. And like I said, it's organically growing right now. Okay. I'm not doing a ton because I'm using what I'm learning right now to actually fund a lot of what I'm going to do for marketing.
Okay.
Right. So it's a needs to an end versus because here's another thing within private memberships, you cannot get a loan, federal or state, right? Because it's a private. You would have to get a private loan from a private person or private organization, private money.
Yep.
With their terms, not any federal terms, right? Because now you're stepping out of statutory, or non-statutory into statutory law.
Okay.
So those things.
Huh. So fascinating. I love listening to you because you're so well read. You're so well versed in all of this stuff. And I know like kind of the topical, like the very surfacey pieces of what you talk about, but I love the depth and breadth of like what the knowledge base that you're cultivating. It's so cool, Nick, and then to see you like to do it, right? And Thaddeus and I both are part of Nick's PMA, you guys, and he sends you this really beautiful note. He sends you a beautiful apron. I wear my apron every time I cook.
So this is one of the,
There you go.
and then this is the apron.
It's so cool. Yep. I love it too because like I wipe my hands on it and like there's no
It's black, yeah.
yeah, unless it's flour, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
That's the whole idea, is that when somebody came into this being like it's a Kickstarter, right? I wanted to give you something
Mhm.
because we're making an exchange of energy.
Right.
You're giving me funds to operate this business, and then I'll so give you a good experience.
Yep.
But when you wear that thing, it's like that's something that you can think about all the time. Like I got this whole thing as part of being a member. I just didn't get to like go to an event, or when they have an event, I can sign up and maybe not sign up, but I have this thing, right? And that's you don't see that often in these membership groups, because I've seen some like private clubs, but they don't give people that. You just sign up and you go to their events.
Yeah.
Do you
are you I'm getting some feedback. Do you know why that's happening?
Might be my door open and the air conditioner you heard or something. I don't know.
No, I feel like I hear my own voice.
Oh no, I don't hear that.
Weird. Wonder Thaddeus, if you're listening, would you maybe come in and help me? It's very distracting when I hear my own voice. I don't hear it right now, but okay. So what memberships are you part of other memberships? Because I know like when I buy, the only face cream that I actually use, you guys, is Amanda Vollmer, and you have to sign up for her PMA for a penny when you buy her products from Canada. Just curious if like are you part of other memberships that people?
So I'm part of Amanda's.
Okay.
I'm also part of Renegade Ranch, and that's Mike Cullum. He's the one that helped me create my PMA.
Okay.
And he's the one that does a lot of education and talking around the country about PMAs. So Renegade Ranch, and so I'm part of that. So I have my PMA on his listing, right? So like people come and look like, oh, what are the PMAs that are in my area or in the country, and they offer XYZ. Well, I'm on there as well. And then, of course, like Farm Match would be another one, right?
Okay. Yep.
Freedom Farms, because essentially that is a PMA. It's a private membership association, because we're being able to buy raw dairy, buy these products because we own part of that farm or that animal, right? So, and I'm a part of like a few more, like Red Balloon is another one.
And Nick, you see this as like this is the future of commerce, right? Like this is the future of how we can barter, we can do these things without having this other intervention.
Yeah, otherwise, like, because I've been talking to the owner of Farm Match. He's a very smart individual, and I tried to bring on Farrell, and I will be part of the first cohort that does this thing, like bring them on so individuals that are looking for a farm can not only find a farm, but they can also find a person that provides a service, right? And then contract with them through private membership. And this will be the way I see it, and I felt it long ago, because of the federal banks and how money is going and how you're going to be tracked and traced, right, through central bank digital currency. Right? Things will collapse around us. They already have been. We're already seeing that. We're seeing the fractional reserve notes take a really big deep dive in their value. We just saw 2 days ago that silver took another hit and went down $3.
Really?
They're going to rebound because, like, what is silver and gold in? It's in every electronic car and vehicle, phone that they're going to use. The other things are in there is lithium and cadmium and all these other things that we can go buy stocks in, right? But you don't need Federal Reserve notes to do anything, because those are just an idea of money. Our currency is me and you right now exchanging this thing. I'm giving you something of value, and you're giving me something of value just because of the knowledge that we're sharing. Right. And so, but what is that worth? Like, if I was to give you, I don't know, this cup, and you're going to pay me with a chicken, Is this cup really worth a chicken? Because it took you a year to raise this chicken from a baby, and you had to give it food and water and take care of it, right? And so that was your energy and your time. So is this actually worth that? Maybe I need to give you 6 of these for that one chicken, because that's the value. It's just an assigned value that we create.
Right.
Right. And like I did that with my memberships on there. Like, what is a fair amount? Because some of the other ones that I saw were thousands of dollars. Right. But I wanted to make mine accessible to everyone. So hold on one moment.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm on the phone.
Hey man, we're real. We have families.
Yeah, my son's like yelling at the dog.
Really? I know, and I keep hearing this feedback, and I'm wondering where my husband went, but he seems to be not attending to me. It's okay. It's all right. Okay, well.
But yeah, I hope people will do this. I'm guaranteeing you this, because I was correct about the restaurants, and I've told you about this before. When we moved to Minneapolis, the restaurants would fail in that X amount of time. I didn't know it was going to be failing as in closing down because of certain thing. It happened. I'm guaranteeing it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again within the year. Then it'll probably happen in the fall or winter.
This winter?
Yes, because that's the Overton window at play.
You're not hearing it?
We know these things, then we can literally be ahead of the game. And that's what I've always, Erin Esser that's on here.
Yeah.
She's always said that. I'm finally walking into that, and I've always been ahead of my time. Like in ideas. She can ask her, and there's like, yep. And this is one of those things. I set it up before a lot of people have been doing it.
You're like this 18th century character that's ahead of your time. It's so cool.
Because it's the same time.
Yeah.
It's a parabola, right? Like, it's just a repeat.
Yeah, right. Should I take the microphone off and just do the computer? No. I'm just trying to get rid of this feedback. I've got my IT team here. I don't know why it would be why would it start now? You know what? I bet it's
because I said something.
I was gonna say that. Oh, that's what.
Because we started talking about the PMA. That AI hates it. Do you know AI will run everything in 5 years that has to do with the internet, and most likely they probably are.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
Alexa, you suck.
Siri, you suck too.
What is that movie that is
Space Odyssey 2001?
No, there's a one that has like this AI lady that she breaks out of the prison, or the AI prison, and it's something.
I wouldn't know that.
Kind of new, but I think that's people are like, these young people are all excited about AI, and I'm like, how could you be excited about something like that? And you can't be excited about spirituality.
Right.
But which one is more controlling to you?
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Maybe they should all get sat down and watch Space Odyssey 2001. They don't have the attention span for that. It would never work. It's too long of a movie. But that was actually really profound.
My computer is warning me I'm running out of power.
No, you're never running out of power, man.
It says its battery is low.
Yeah,
my battery is charged.
You're like, that's on you. Our friend Matt from Quantum of Conscience, he says, oh, did you say something?
No, I was just looking for my charger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll wrap up here in a minute or two. So he says that he goes, my power is out, because a lot of times in Philly, apparently the power runs out. And he's like, I'm never going to say that again. That's the worst thing you could possibly say. He's like, I'm not out of power. He's like, my electricity turned off, but like that. I'm not using those stupid words anymore.
We're becoming so more cognizant of our words and how we use them.
Yeah.
Kara is like that too. And so Kara and I have really been playing the synchronicity game as far as co-creation lately. I'll just tell you that her last couple months of real estate have been like she's been in this game for a long time.
Whoa.
She sold first of her group to sell $1 million home.
What?
And she had a 20K month. Like, that's fucking huge, right? Like,
That's
we started using the Neville Goddard every day and
nice.
imagining what our stuff was going to look like. And we create all of this, like, right? Whether it's bad or it's good.
Oh, I love that. Such an inspiration, Nick. I love that. I'm so proud of Kara. You guys are crushing it. You're starting your PMA. It's so awesome. And I love that you came on and took the time. I'm going to get all teary-eyed. But took the time to share all of this beautiful knowledge that you've gained and share it with everybody else. Like it's so fun to hear people talk openly, freely, even if the stupid AI starts giving us feedback. I'm like, good, you know, like we must be saying something really interesting here, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
They don't like whatever I said. I'm trying not to use the keywords that they would flag for, but you know.
That's right. It's
Once
all good.
Talking freedom.
Yeah, right. So
and autonomy.
Why don't we, do you want to just follow up, like just say a few words, maybe just tie in you're in therapy and health freedom, and we'll just kind of wrap it up with that.
Yeah. So I guess how I would wrap all of them together, just without understanding yourself, you're going to always stand under someone else. And the best insight you can give is stop asking questions and allow yourself to listen to what's already out there and just let it bring it in to yourself. And this is called trusting your gut. All right. So my mom always told me that is if you feel it here in your stomach, then you can guarantee that it's not for you or it is for you. Right. So you have to be able to decipher those things. But those are the situations you put yourself in that create that feeling. If you're putting yourself into a situation where it's beautiful and all the energy around you is great and you get that feeling, then it's telling you this is resonating with you. And if you're in a place where the hair stands on the back of your neck and you get a gut feeling that you're not supposed to be there or doing this, that's another resignation to you, right? That's living free. But nobody connects to that anymore. We're trying to be too logical, but we're also not being adults. So adults use logic, but they also use their gut and their intuition and their wisdom.
And what about like personal responsibility for your health? I mean, there's some
that is personal responsibility, right? Is
right?
Like not being a child, because a child blames other people for their things. And that's where we're at in this world.
Yep.
I can't do the whole thing with my bodily autonomy because the government said I couldn't, or a man said I couldn't. Right?
Yeah.
Like
right.
Bullshit. You can do whatever you want, but you have to accept the consequences.
Yeah.
Like children do these things because they want instant gratification, but they're not willing to accept what happens on the other end because they're going to blame somebody else. You didn't tell me it was going to be like this, or I did it and I thought XYZ. Well, you know what? It's that time of thinking is gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We got to be adults, and that's freedom. And freedom comes with a lot of responsibility because everything that I'm going to do or I've put into play, I have to be willing to take the consequences of that and the ramifications it could cause my family. But I'm willing to do that right now at this point.
Didn't Spider-Man say something like that? With great freedom comes great responsibility or something?
Well, he wasn't the really one that said it.
Yeah,
But no, but it goes kind of like Maslow's idea of, right? Like you give a boy a hammer, everything becomes a nail. Right? Like it's in that golden rule idea, right? Like, but a lot of people aren't thinking of that because nowadays we've been told that you can be welfared on everything.
Yeah.
You can be welfared on your money. You can be welfared on your thought, right?
How do you see you're in therapy playing into the health piece, Nick?
The biggest health piece is if you can re-educate your body from all the stuff that you put in it and it can cleanse it, right? Then that's what we're looking for right now is a re-education, right?
I love that. Yeah.
We're not looking for knowledge. It's just what we have has been corrupted. So if we want to use AI or we want to use digital ideas, the code was put in incorrectly. And now it just has to be gone through by ourselves and by our innate powers and recoded. We have that ability.
Amen.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you. So I hope you guys like really let that last piece sink in, because that's what this is about, you guys. We don't need to give our freedoms away. We don't need to give our health and put our health in the hands of other people. Like this is our body. We get to decide. We get to take it back, right? It's been hijacked from us. And that's my mission here with the Pool Party podcast. Like I like to, bring awesome characters like Nick from the 18th century and the future on and have these fun conversations and just like blow your freaking mind, because these are taboo subjects that people aren't really willing to talk about kind of mainstream, right? And I want to bring it more to the forefront and be like, you don't need to go to the doctor and give him or her your health concerns. Like you already have that information inside of you. And it's just a matter of like bringing it to the surface, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that the Year in Therapy really has just like, it's the perfect medicine. Just like Martha Christie says, it's your own perfect medicine. And there's so many applications. There's so many ways we can use it. And bee stings, snake bites, like jellyfish stings, like that's what we all know that, right? But I think it can really be helpful to a lot of young mothers. And if I would have known that, I would probably take my children out in nature more often as a young mother.
We did this, we went out foraging and we all had a tick on us.
Yeah.
And so we all put aged orange on it right away after we pulled it out. So nice. People are afraid about limes, right? They're afraid about the man-created thing, this weapon. Yep. We used it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to re-educate my body right now with like, no, don't be afraid of this thing.
Right.
First, it's mental, like, oh,
yeah.
I can't do that. But no, screw that. Then I'm going to put this thing on there because I know it's going to help me.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else, or are you ready to make it a wrap?
We've done 2 hours.
I know, it's the longest interview I've had. I really love the fact that like we've kind of named you like this ancient character, this 18th century character of the future. I'll put some of that in the description, but
well, it's like one thing that I've been trying to really figure out a lot of lately is like my name. Is it something that I resonate with, right? So I have a journal that I've been journaling from my kids, is like my father's life. And it's basically from your birth on. And so it was about my name. And
yeah.
Nicholas means victory of the people. And so I think I resonate with that idea more so than I really have, because I want to see people victorious in what they do. Nice. So I can resonate with that. But if it meant something else, perhaps not.
Yeah. Are you going to go back to like, or not go back, but are you going to do like Nicholas now instead of Nick? Or does that not change?
I don't know. I don't think it changes it for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it comes from Nike, which is the goddess that helped Zeus, right? It was also the goddess of war and victory and
communication,
right? So I'm like, okay, well, I kind of dig some of these things.
Yeah, that's cool. Mercury is the other name for Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one also gets a bad rap a lot of times.
I know. It's also silver, and like it's like 33. Like, why wouldn't we take back 33? There's 33 vertebrae in your spine. Jesus was 33 when he was crucified. There's so many.
201 is the craziest one I've been hearing.
What's that?
So it's Illuminati aspect, and it has 201 days, 201 everything. So just listen to the last Sam Tripoli podcast.
Oh, okay.
It's like, holy crap. And this guy does all the gematria for it.
Okay,
So
cool. I know we could just like we could sit here and just like jam this out for like hours. Are you listening to Waters Above Crypto at all?
just a little bit.
Okay.
Not a lot.
He's pretty fun too. I love how he breaks down the gematria, not for crypto information, but like on his Friday night lives or whatever. Those are pretty fun.
I'm all in alignment with ideas with Crow 777.
Okay.
I believe that it is a trap.
Mm.
And you know that, like we've had that conversation. I
Yeah.
used it to the extent that it served me, and I put it down when it started not to. And then I just seeing all of like the emails you get about taxes and this and that, control and mechanism, right? Like I want to trade rabbits with you.
Yeah. We have to introduce you to our friend Anthony, because that's what their whole they're all Arthur Haynes people. Okay. And you know what's interesting is like they're all really healthy looking people.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, wow, it's so, like they know something. Like we were just over there doing this atlatl thing.
Yeah.
But it was like, Nick, it was like huge spears. It was like a 7-foot long spear, and he took the atlatl and he's like,
yeah,
it was so fun. And then Thaddeus is like, I just ate some buffalo out of a jar, and like I just like it was so funny.
Well, you know, just going to like where I'm working at, people can't believe that I'm 43 years old.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Like, well, you take care of yourself.
Right. Oh, we just lost Nick. Well, I'll just wrap up. Thank you for joining the podcast, you guys. I'm super excited that you stayed on this long and listened to Nick. 2 hours of just beautiful information from somebody who's really well versed in, a myriad of topics, and just let them sink in. And if you have a little cognitive dissonance going on, you know what, like that's okay. Just let the information sink in. And if you feel like you want to know more, just maybe start doing some research. And Nick knows a lot about the law aspects of a lot of things. So that's why I really wanted him to talk about his PMA. And he is a carnivore. He does urine therapy, and he's a distiller. He just does all these super fun things. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I hope to see you again next time. Thanks. And thank you, Thaddeus, for being my IT team.